Welcome back, Freelancers Undefeated Rescue, and we're continuing with the Gear Showcase series. We're in the Colossus today. A couple interceptors just hanging out in here pretty early in the morning, but we'll go out and showcase some gear. Okay, so we're back in the Necropolis, and we are GM1, and we're continuing with the assault launchers. So today we're using the Fist of Crucible, which I used in a previous video with almost the exact same build I've got here. Not showcasing the build though, just trying to showcase the gear. But I'll kind of show you in GM3 why I'm using this build, and we can kind of go over like its synergy that it has. So Fist of the Crucible, it's an upgraded flamethrower. Its Metalwork perk is Striker's Advantage. Hitting an enemy increases flamethrower damage by 24% for 10 seconds, stacking to 10. So essentially, it can increase the flamethrower's damage from by 240% if you get all 10 stacks. The stacks don't last very long. 10 seconds is kind of like a questionable, like you kind of have to be on it, but because it has a zero recharge, you can actually proc it easily, and if you're quick about it, you can have your charge back really quickly and really apply it. It has a fire effect of 7, which is a little bit lower than what I prefer. Usually 20 is the really like niche spot for it to really be effective, but because you have a really low recharge and it has mine has a lot of charges on it, I'm able to proc it pretty often. And then damage, like initially it's not so impressive, so in GM3 this is not going to be very helpful, but you know, 240% on top of 5,000, that's like that's like 2,000, that's over 2,000 damage it'll be able to do, plus it's fire effect, so it's going to cause fire tick damage as well once it gets the fire effect on the enemy type. We'll go in here and try to showcase it off. In GM1 it's going to take these enemies down really well, so I'm not too concerned about survivability here. The main takeaway I'm going to tell you from this one early on is that it's just a consistent primer. It's just going to prime all the enemy types really well, except for fire elementalists. You're going to have a little issue with those types of enemies, or even like when you're going to strongholds against the monitor. When he's in his fire phase, it's going to be kind of difficult there. But So in GM1, you're definitely going to be able to take down a lot of the enemies. You can see they're getting primed like right away, and then Striker's Strength, you can see, or sorry, Striker's Boost on the left-hand side, you can see that it is procted right now. I do have to hit the enemies to proc it. It just doesn't proc from just hitting whatever, where some items or some gear pieces it can, but you do have to hit the enemy. So initially you're going to see is enemies that have shields. Well, let me take this one out and get, so I'm at max right now. As you can see, even though they have their shield up, it still counts against them as a hit. So that's good to know. So like right here, we got an enemy with the shield up, and it was still recharging, or sorry, refreshing, even with their shield up. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and take these enemies out, and then I will lose my Striker's Boost and show you with shields that it will come back. Okay, so I have no Striker's Strength on right now. Or sorry, Striker's Advantage, and I'll show you that I will get it back by hitting their shield. As you can see, they have their shield up, and I'm already at 10. So definitely easy to get to proc that way. Okay, so now we got some armored enemies. We'll go ahead and check it on them. Yeah, and they're armored, and fire hurts armored enemies, or is more effective against armored enemies. So they died pretty quickly. They're dying quicker than the other enemy types. Okay, cool. So, alright, we'll take on the Ranger. As you can see, I'm getting Striker's Strength even though their shield is up, so I'm not even priming them. Because they're armored, it burns them down really quickly, and then, yeah. So, in GM1, it's looking like it's a god tier gear piece, but I'll show you in GM3 where... So the main takeaway from this is the reason it's so powerful is because it's fire and it's priming them. But realistically, that's how it's going to work in pretty much GM1 and below. GM3 is where you're going to need it as a primer, and that's why it's going to be so effective there as well. But we'll go in the GM3 and showcase it there. Okay, so we are in GM3 with the Fist of the Crucible, and I just kind of want to showcase it, or just a little info for you. So if you see where I'm standing right here, I was kind of testing the range on this. There was a compound over there, and I kind of wanted to showcase the gap of it. So it was right where that piece is right there, and then where I'm standing right here is how far you can reach with this. That's like the approximate like length of how far you can reach. As where I was standing back here, I wasn't able to get it. So like right here, to right there is approximately the length of how far the Fist of Crucible will reach. So just a neat little info. It doesn't really say anything in the description about the range or radius or anything, so that's just something you'll have to test. But that's the approximate length of it. Okay. So like right here, we were killing them before with. It took them. It's still going to take them down fairly well, and as you can see now, I've got like max stack, so now I'm doing like a lot of damage. Whereas if I let it die down real quick, you'll see I'll be doing a lot less. So as you can see, it's starting kind of over, and you can see it's slowly building back up. And plus, since it's fire, it's doing tick damage as well. So if you have one of these that has a lot of gear charge on them, it can be really powerful. But what I'm really trying to do is get them to prime. And then there you go. Okay, so got a little interface issue, but that's nothing big. So what I like to do is pretty much just run at them like this, and then just let Vass's Arc kind of do all the detonating automatically for me. So that's something you can kind of do. But you can kill them with this, and you can use it as a primary source of DPS. It's going to take time, because the reason it's able to basically defeat these enemies is because it's doing two types of damage right now. It's doing the fire damage, which I'm stacking Striker's Boost for, and then it's also doing fire tick damage. And then here's something too it's not consistent, and this is why I don't like to talk about it, and I don't want you to assume that this is going to happen for you. So the way Striker's Boost is supposed to work, let's get over here and kind of talk about it real quickly behind some cover. So the way Striker's Boost is supposed to work, according to the description, is hitting an enemy increases flamethrower damage by 24% for 10 stacks, or stacking for 10 seconds. Okay, so it says it's only for the flamethrower though. It does say that. However, it seems to stack for other fire damage as well. I'm seeing things with the Inferno Gauntlet and with other flame-related weapons as well. So but it's not. That's the problem. It's not consistent. Sometimes it does it. Sometimes it doesn't. So I wouldn't. I would think you're gonna have to do your own testing with this. And I'm not saying that because I'm being lazy or anything. It's just I have not seen consistent numbers. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see who will take down whose shield first. All right. Well, they won. I'm frozen right now. I'll go ahead and take down their shield, though. I'll try to take down their shield. Oh, wow, it's not targeting that. That's weird. We'll go ahead and take down their shield, and then... Oh, there we go. Let's see if we can ground them. We can. And they are, in fact, primed. But as you can see, like, if I'm just sitting on them with this, it's going to take forever. But now that I'm using it with Vass's Arc to get combos, they're going down a lot quicker and a lot more efficient. I don't know if you can see, technically I'm running right now. This is a little trick you can do with if you have Vass's Arc. I'll run away and kind of let Vass's Arc come back, and I'll kind of show you. Oh, man. Okay, so... Alright, so I've got Vass's Arc back. So I'm running with Vass's Arc. I got my shield up, and then I'm running now with the Fist of Crucible and Vass's Arc. So I'm just kind of moving a little bit faster right now. Not a good hustle, but a little, just chugging along a little bit quicker. Although it's all based on Vass's Arc, so as Vass's Arc runs out, like right now I can't do it. It automatically stops me. Let's see if we can ground them real quick. Okay, and then we got an armored enemy right here. Let me take this guy out real quick. Alright. Let's find another armored enemy. Okay, so we got some armored enemies here, and they should go down pretty quickly because fire does affect armored enemies more aggressively than others. Okay, so yeah, it took them down about the same as it would any other enemy type. But we'll go ahead and clear the rest of these out, and we'll go one-on-one with the ranger. Okay, so now it's me and the ranger. As you can see, they got the shield up, and I am getting Striker's boost. And I got up to 10 very quickly. Although it's not taking their shield down very well because it's not very good against shields. So we're going to take their shield down real quickly. Okay, shield's down. And now I'm just going to burn them. I'm going to go ahead and use Vass's Arc. As you can see, it combos. And then I'm just basically sitting here setting them on fire and using Vass's Arc to do additional damage, if not combo them. Let Vass's Arc recharge a little bit. They're on fire to gain tick damage, so their shield can't come back. And I'm just going to wash and repeat with this. As long as you have a lot of really good charges and damage rolls on these, which I know that's kind of like asking a lot, because you can't control your rolls or your damage. Or sorry, you can't control any of your rolls or inscriptions. That's just kind of like luck, unfortunately. If you get those, you're going to have a pretty good time with this, but we'll go over some box checking real quick. So, is it efficient? It has the lowest recharge in the game, which is 0. You can move while using it too, at a pretty good pace. If you have Vass's Arc, you can literally run with it and use it, which potentially you could prime more enemies with it. And if you get like any extra rolls on it, it's just going to be that much better. And like, I almost want to start a clock and show you how long I can let this go with 90 charges. Like, it's just ridiculous. And then it recharges quicker than its charges are getting consumed. So this is a recharge build, mind you, so your recharge may vary. And then the distance is pretty good too. It's not too bad. It would be nice if the duration of the Fist of the Crucible added to the length of it, because I think that'd be a lot better. Just a personal opinion here. I think if the Masterwork perk was applied to how long you're using it to how further it goes out, or further its reach would be, that would be more interesting, especially because then you could use it with a lot of the mortars too, because then you're priming potentially enemies that are on the other side of the arena. That's just my personal thought. That's not necessarily a good idea. It's just a different idea. So it's definitely efficient. Is it viable? Well, it's a primer, and it's a primer that, if used over time, becomes even more powerful. So at that point, all your damage is just going to be through the roof. It's not going to be so aggressive that it's like you can use this as your main source of DPS. That's definitely not what I'm saying. Because it's GM3, it's not going to be very useful for that. It's just going to be a consistent primer. And because it's a consistent primer, you can just bring whatever detonator you want in. It doesn't even have to be Vass's Arc. You could use the other melee. Seismic Glove, I think is what it's called. Yeah. Earthshaker. Yeah, the Seismic Glove. So you could use that too, because you are able to do, because it's kind of a close range primer. You can do that, and then you can just use Seismic Glove to detonate everyone in the area. So definitely going to call it efficient and viable. Then is it fun? I have fun with this build. This is like one of my favorite builds, just because I can throw up Vass's Arc. I can run with the Fist of Crucible by priming them and detonating them almost immediately. And I got this goofy running animation. You can also fly like this, and now I've got a flamethrower while I'm flying them, like a flying Colossus dragon, I guess. I don't know. I have a lot of fun with it, but your mileage could vary on that. So I'm going to give this the thumbs up, and if you can get, it's up to you if you want to spend your coin on getting a really good roll from the store, the regulator store, when these come through. But I would definitely try to get one that has at least max roll on charges. Damage should only be a priority if you're trying to do a build like that. But I think as far as like, it's going to be just a very consistent primer, and that's why I would recommend trying to hold on to one that has a lot of charges on it, because I think that's going to get you a lot more mileage and be a lot more viable in builds. I don't think there's too much else to say on this. Well, we'll compare it to a couple other things real quickly, just to compare it to everything else in this slot. Solvent Green works a little bit differently than the Fist of Crucible. It does more damage. It has a recharge of 1, which honestly 1-0, it doesn't really matter. It has the same effect as well. The difference between Green Solvent, this is where the real competition is going to come in, is Green Solvent does more damage for combos. So essentially I could swap out Green Solvent right now and put it on this, and my combos would be much greater. The only thing is Green Solvent kind of doesn't work the same way, where the Fist of Crucible has like a sustained flamethrower that's just consistently throwing out fire, where with Green Solvent it kind of like chugs, where it's kind of like spewing out like at a time. It's spewing out like globs of acid at a time. So there's a bit of separation time-wise there, and I'll go over that when I go in that video. I kind of want to kind of show like there are other options here that potentially these are competing between each other. It's really going to be based on your build and how you want to go with it, whether or not you think you should stick with Green Solvent or Fist of Crucible. I personally think Fist of Crucible for this specific kind of a build is better, but it's going to be based on your build and your roles and which one works out better for you. Um, there's really no downsides to either one of these, honestly. They both work really, really well. I like the Fist of Crucible just because I got really good rolls on this one too. So that's kind of, I think, why I favor it. Yeah, I don't really think there's much else to say there. I think that pretty much gets the point across. But I'm Defeated Rescue, and I hope to see you guys out in Bastion.